Shiru, everything I had left in the house was packed in that. I told you it was a 7-seater Voxy, Toyota Vox. Computer, kanyongo, you know, I have a small kanyongo. Everything that belongs to me
was in that car.
Was in that car. And we met him with my daughter. And he gave me the key.
And he's not talking to you?
He's not talking. He say hello.
Guys, wacha niwaambie tuko na ploti kule username. Najua kuna watu wengi sana wamekuwa wakiniuliza, Shiru Stuart, zile ploti za Nakuru ziko aje? Guys, those plots are still there and it's a flexible payment. Guys, if you want those plots, na ziko karibu sana na barabara kutoka Nakuru City towards where the plots are. It's only 15-minute drive, guys. Na kumejengwa sana, kuna stima, kuna maji. Na like I said, it's a flexible payment. You can choose either to pay in 3 months, 6 months, ama 1 year. You are interested na kama ungetaka kuinvest, na wale wamekuwa wakinipigia simu, tuko bado na hizo plot, tuko phase 5 guys. Phase 1 iliisha na saizi tuko phase 5. Remember, Nakuru is the newest city in town. So guys, na ziko pahali very prime. Guys, if you want to invest, chukua hiyo namba ya simu, wapigia, waambie umetumwa na Shiru Stuart.
He came home in October. No, he didn't, not in October, sorry. He did not come in October. There is a minister, he's a minister, and I know he will get to know, to watch this. He used to send him to my shop to scrutinize how I'm living, you know, ni nani ninakaa nao kwa hiyo shop, ananiuliza tu maswali, na there is a time even he asked me, and God forbid you minister, if you knew what Japhet was doing behind the scenes and you didn't tell me, I only leave God, I only leave this to God. Because there's a time he asked me, now in your conflict between you and Japhet, is there a way you are suspecting him to have been in a relationship with somebody or something of the sort? I say, oh no, my husband, I won't. Ile tunasema in Kemeru, no, ndemorere muma. Yani I can swear that he cannot do that. No, because I knew he's just scrutinizing me. I told him, it's about other things, not that area. Leave that one. He's very smart there. Don't worry. Other things, but not that. So I guess he is the same minister that he used to have the divorce process started. Because now in October, when he failed to come in August, he did not come in October, as my daughter told me. The papers that I gave you the other day, the divorce started in October. I left in June. This is now in July, August, September, October. Only 4 months after I've left Kenya. So he sent, I guess, he sent this minister to present the papers and maybe to have, or even maybe when he was coming to the shop to pretend that he has brought them and I signed it because he used to come to the shop. So the papers for divorce were presented, the first presentation was given in October, and he had not come into the country. He came now in October, in November 15th. I remember the date because my daughter was telling me he's traveling today. He traveled on 15th of November. When he came, he went to her mother, of course. He went to visit his brother, and he was passing through Maua town, where I have a small shop, and I will see that is him passing. And he knew my shop where it was. He stayed in Nairobi like for 2 weeks. He went to Mombasa, where we have a small plot. Shiru. Because I wanted to avoid staying in you know, tukienda nyumbani tunalala kwa hoteli. And as a woman, I was feeling uncomfortable. I can't cook my things in the hotel. So I started a small kitchen, and he knew that. Whatever money I got from my care, I would just send it, and he knew that, and I was building a small kitchen. Do you know, Shiru, When my husband went to Mombasa, he demolished that kitchen, stone on top of another. He brought every stone down. I don't know what for. And he told the lady who stays there, because there's a lady we have put there just to keep security. He told her not to tell me. It's only the other day when I went home, I went to that plot, I met my kitchen was demolished. So that December, he demolished my kitchen. And on 10th of December, he came back to UK with Victoria. And you know, he told people that I unblocked him from emails, I blocked his phone, I blocked every means that he will communicate to me with. But that's not genuine, because when you came into Kenya, you know where I come from. That road was not blocked. I mean that road that leads to Kaibo, where I'm born, it's not blocked. You would have gone, and even the villagers witness you come back, you are V8 there. And they see you going to home, ask, where is Rachel? Rachel left me in UK, she came here, where is she? And they would have a testimony. It's true that Japhet came to look for Rachel. He never bothered. So he cannot say that he could not get me, like he is telling people, alizima simu, akazinizimia kila kitu sikumpata. Where the shop where I was operating, he was passing there. I mean, Shiru, you know this, when a man wants you, unless you are in the grave, he will get you. He will find you no matter what. Because he didn't want it. Number two, Shiru, you need to know. Vile tulikuwa tumepelekana na huyu mwanaume, alijua tu akiattempt reconciliation, I will accept. And he didn't dare do it. He knew that the kind of a woman I am, I'm so humble, and I have always wanted to have my family together. I remember I come from a family which was separated. So I was always telling him, I want my family. So alijua akini approach in that manner, especially akituma mtu akuje to reconcile, nitakubali. So he didn't want. And me, Shiru, I didn't want to go back to that, because once hajakubali kwamba amenikosea, he will still subject me to such evil things again. He will do even worse if I take myself back. And I'll go back to having those thoughts again, and I didn't want. So, I just decided now I'm going back to look for where to start. I didn't tell you, when I was leaving, because of what the church did for me, I felt so bad. And I wrote a letter to them, telling them, you are very unfair. You're making me to leave the work when it is Corona time. It's a very hard time. I'm suffering. Blah blah. It's racism. I wrote a very, very, very serious letter. And so when I was home, one of the church officers, and to be sent to want to know what really happened. So I was explaining to him over the email, over the Zoom, and he was interviewing me, interrogating me. How did it happen? What do you think? Blah blah. So at one point around December, this guy told me, Rachel, the way I can see things going is like these people cannot hear you when you're back home. Can you try how you can get back to the country so that maybe they can listen to you? I said, okay, I'll look for a way to come. That time, Shiru, I did not have even a coin. I had so many debts. I was living like I don't know how, but by the grace of God, I was surviving. But I had so many debts. I brought myself back. And they told me, unless you are here, that's when we can. I used my own wisdom. When I say wisdom, Shiru, I used my own wisdom to get myself here. And I came. When I was still back home, there is a time I had fibroids and they were so bad and they were disturbing. And I had a small operation. And it led me to having very low bloods. And my blood count went very low to 7.5. And so it was done at Aga Khan, but then it was during December time, and they told me we need like 40,000 to hand you blood, or you just go to your family and they give you blood the new income. Sasa nitaenda kuambia watu wa family nini wanipe blood, si watakufa tu waone Rachel ameisha. Nikanyamaza nikasema when I get to UK, because it's free, I'll just get myself into the hospital and then they will hand me blood for free. So even one of the reasons which made me to want to come is to get the medical attention here in UK, which is free. And also I was getting so broke, and here if I come, at least even I'll get some support from the government. So in other ones, I just came and I did not have a house, I did not have a place. And when I was in the, I stepped in an hotel for 1 or 2 days. I stayed in the hotel for 2 days. I had not still gotten a place where I would stay, and the money I had to use in the hotel was finishing. I thought, now let me call the ambulance. You know, when you call the ambulance, they'll come and take you. Yeah. I told them I had a problem with my fibroids, and very severe fibroids, and I was bleeding so much, and it's like I'm fainting now, because I knew my bloods were. And they came and took me. On taking my measurement, the blood was 8. I went with my bags. You know, I am traveling. I went to a hotel, from the hotel to the hospital. So when going to the hospital, they put me blood, and they had to keep me there for 1 day. The second day, they had to put me blood. Because I had to stay there for them to take the test, to take the x-rays, to see how far the fibroid had gone, because I had done the operation in Kenya and see those scans. By that time it was night, and I had to spend another day to be put some blood. So in one way or the other, I called the church, and I told them I came. Unfortunately, I had to land in the hospital and blah, blah. I explained the situation. They said, are you okay now? Are you now on the chant? Are you going home? And to explain everything. And they said they would help me. They said they're going to help me because I've come. And I mean, they asked me, what are you going to do now after the hospital? I said, I want help from you to look for a house, because this is the time now. I said I'm going to tell them that we are not together, that we have been separated, we are in conflict, we are not solved, and I'm not ready to go back to my husband's house. They said they would help me, but first of all, they had to ask for the help they were ready to give me, had to be signed by my husband. I say I don't mind, let him sign, but as long as I get the help, I don't mind getting the help. So they had to have him sign, but they had to explain to him that I was in hospital. I even was in hospital. He told them he doesn't even know I was in hospital. He doesn't know that I've even come into the country like that. But they told him Rachel has been in the hospital, and she has even been handed some blood, and she needs help. Now, there's some help we want to give her, but you have got to sign. He signed for that help, so I was given the money to settle, although that money did not come immediately. You know, the system in this country did not come immediately, and to say like weeks and weeks, and to call a friend of mine, ask her to house me. She housed me for 2 days, 3 days. You know, in this country, you can be abandoned to somebody. When you see things are not okay here, somebody else, you guys go to. I went like in 3 homes, helping me to stay as I was waiting for my money to look for a house. So during that time, because now the church has realized that we are not in good terms, because I've come, I've asked them to give me help. I've not gone to my husband's house. They asked him, Japhet, can you tell us the status of your marriage? You know me, I told them we have conflict unsolved. And until we solve, I cannot go into our house. But to him, he told them, me and Rachel is finished. We are no longer wife and husband. And he gave me that letter. We are no longer husband and wife. And I'm seeking divorce papers in Kenya because we have stayed long and I've tried reconciliation, it's not working. I even turned the people back home, and the people culturally have finished the wedding. It's no more. This letter broke me. May, he wrote an email to me. He told me, and remember, he has told people that he cannot access me through my email, telling me, Rachel, the car that you left in the compound, could you please come for the car? I said, now, the small house I'm having, I don't have even a park. Where am I going to take this car? I just kept quiet for a week. He sent another reminder. Could you please come for your car? Okay, that time now my daughter had come to visit me, and she was with me here in Slough. So we went to pick the car. I told her, Daddy is calling me to pick my car. Could you please take me? We went with my daughter. Zero. Everything I had left in the house was packed in that. I told you it was a 7-seater Voxy, Toyota Vox. Computer, kanyongo, you know, I have a small kanyongo. Everything that belongs to me was in that car. And we met him with my daughter, and he gave me the key.
And he's not talking to you? He's
not talking. He say hello.
Did he say hello? Did
he talk to you? He just say hello. Yeah, they were talking. He said, you even go prepare some tea for yourselves and take. He went, he gave me the key. On going to look at the car, you could not even see the mirror so that you can reverse, because everything was packed to the brim. My daughter asked me, now, Mom, are you saying we are going to go back with these things in that small house? I said, Mokeni, I'm not the one who put these things here. Your dad did. And he wanted us to take them. So, and don't bother. That time now, my daughter, and starting to tell, I was starting to tell her slowly by slowly that we are not together. And I even disclosed that your dad is pursuing divorce. So she told me, don't worry, Mom. That time, the car, because it understand for a long time without being driven, it didn't have MOT. I had to take the car for MOT with those things inside. I didn't know if it will pass or not. I knelt down in that compound. I said, God, if it is one lady I know who is making my husband to behave this way, because this is a very weird behavior, I leave it to you. I knelt down while my daughter saw, kneeling down in that compound. And it's the same compound Victoria is going to step after 17th of the next month. The same compound. Same bed. Same kitchen. Same spoons. Same wardrobe. Same fridge. Those things will be speaking to her, you know. So I knelt down. I told God whatever I told God, and I took the keys and we went to the garage. We drove the car. I had to give all those things to the charity because there's a small house I have cannot accommodate. But I was crying tears. My tears, you know, Shiru, the difference between me and him, at least him, he has got church where he has members who are, surrounding him all the time. That time I didn't even know anybody in Slough. I was all alone, and I was crying alone in my house, crying. And
you see, Rachel, you said that, he had to inform the church that you guys are not together, and he's a pastor, he's working for the church. Did the church not tell him, okay, you're not supposed to serve when you're not married, or things like that, or he's still allowed to divorce you and still continue serving a congregation?
I think the context here, Shiru, is different. Unlike in Kenya, where they would call me, because if this kind of thing happens in Kenya, they would call me and hear my story, and they will call Japhet and hear his story. Here is no, it's not like that. Once he told them that my marriage between me and Rachel is finished, and I'm pursuing divorce papers, what they told him, I guess, what they told him, give us a divorce. certificate. And that is why he had to work day in, day out and bribe to get a certificate. Because if he involved me in that process, I wouldn't sign for him, considering the type of lies he had heaped in that divorce paper.
So basically, to cut the whole story short, a bit short because we don't want it to be so long, he faked for this divorce paper and they signed it, they faked your signature and they processed everything.
What happened is when in October, using the person that he was using and his lawyer, they purported that he came on 27th, and 27th he was here in UK. He came with the papers together with the court clerk. They called me in Maua town. I came, they called me to come and sign. I came and I refused to sign. So I don't know how the lawyer now argued refusal to sign is equals to saying yes. I don't know how, because I'm not a lawyer. But the papers that I've got says that Rachel was called by the petitioner. Petitioner is Japhet. We together with the court clerk, and Rachel refused to sign. That is in October. And October now, he was here. So it continued until now May, because the way I see those papers, in May is when it was granted. That is when the divorce was granted. May this year. May 2022.
2022.
And when it was granted, it is given 30 days for somebody to appeal or just go against it. I didn't know. It was being done in Kiambu court. And Kiambu is not Maua, where somebody, even my relative, would just see somebody and notice in the board and tell me. It was done in Kiambu.
So it was not appealed?
It was not appealed.
So they approved it?
They approved it. So in June now, one day, miraculously, I remember I was fasting that day. I saw this lawyer, because I know the lawyer very well. It's a lawyer who knows us as a family. He knows me and Japhet, we are one. I don't know how Japhet convinced him that I've accepted this thing to happen. I saw him on Facebook Messenger. I asked him hi, just like that, just because he's a member, we know. He said hi. He said hi back. And he said, he asked me, I hope you guys are okay. I said, oh yes, we are okay. But I said, I am okay. Because who are you asking we are okay and we are not together? So when I said I asked him, I hope, is there, because remember in March, my husband said he's pursuing divorce papers. So I quickly thought it couldn't be this same lawyer, because he has dealt with so many of our cases. It's the same lawyer who is dealing with the divorce. I asked him, has Mr. Japhet given you any work recently? He said, oh yes, and it's already finished. I said, what? What kind of work has he given you? He asked me, are you not aware? I started now suspecting that it is this marriage which is dealing with. I said, please tell me what work you're given and what is that work you're saying it is finished. He kept quiet for 2 days without answering that. And I guess now he was consulting Japhet to ask him, is Rachel not aware of what you are doing? Because the way she asked me is like she's not aware. What I don't know is that if Japhet had revealed to the lawyer that he hasn't told me, I can't tell that Shiru. Because now, after I told him, I want exactly you to tell me what work is that you're saying is finished and how has it finished. Then he later came after a week and told me, I was given your divorce and I gave out the papers to be signed. That time now he called. He didn't want it to be in writing. He called, I was given your divorce and I gave out the papers to be signed, and they came back to me signed. And they told me, whoever I sent told me that they met you in your shop in Maua. That is the shop I'm telling you I used to stay. They told me they met you in the shop and you signed. So the papers I've got are signed by, I said, no, I've not signed any paper. He asked me, why are you not staying in that shop? I say, yes, but staying in that shop doesn't mean I signed. I told him, give me the number And the name of that person who say he brought the papers to me, he kept quiet again for another 2 days without responding. I continued to remind him, okay, if you can't give me the name of the court clerk who served me, give me the file number so that I can get a lawyer to tell me what is exactly happening. He still did not talk to me for another 2 days. It's now a span of 2 weeks. Shiru, I realized that I intervened before the period of that days was over. So he did not want me to access it before that days were over, so that I cannot pinga. So he pulled it until now. He told me that, not him now, because when I told him, please, I want the records, I want the case number, and I want to know exactly what is. So now, after the 30 days, because if I show you the dates, you realize it's between that year and that date. My husband now wrote to me. He wrote to me and copied the bishop, his bishop now. He said, referring to the letter that I wrote to you in March, then the court case is now finished in Kenya and the papers are ready. If you want, you can consult blah blah and associate. I don't want to mention people's name and I'm not here to destroy people's business. He told me you can consult blah blah and associate and ask for your copy, and there is some fee for you to pay fees. And he copied the bishop. Then I replied the letter and I copied his chair of the district, and I told him it is only in Kenya where you can bribe your way and have a divorce done without the other party signing. And this is a servant of God doing this. I will not say anything, but the fact is I don't know anything about this divorce and have not signed any papers. God bless you. I left the letter and I sent the letter to the Jew. Bishop never came back to me. So I shared with one of my very close friends in Kenya. She told me, now, Rachel, you can't just keep quiet. Better know what really happened. She gave me a lawyer, and she told me she will help me with the cost if I'm fearing the cost, so that at least we can know the truth. So the lawyer went to the court. Actually, I even didn't pay a coin. I didn't pay anything by the grace of God. So this lawyer retrieved the papers from Kiambu Law Court where this divorce happened. He brought all the papers on the ground. I realized now the lawyer also lied, because I tell you, the lawyer told me that the papers were brought to him having been signed, and he said the court clerk met me in my shop. But according to the papers which I gave you the other day, it says that the petitioner and the court clerk called me, and I came physically and I refused to sign. You see, those are two different stories. So I am now to file the case, and we went, and the lawyer told me, now this case is not a simple case. It's either going to put your husband into trouble all the time, or he will even lose his job. Number two, it is costly. You have to be able to take care of the cost. Who am I? I'm not even affording what to eat, leave alone. So at this point now, when I told the lawyer, just write an affidavit of what you think has happened, after feeding him with all the information, he wrote an affidavit. He told me to have it signed here in UK by the notary services so that it can be legal. When I received that notary, that letter, I sent to my husband, I sent to his chair of the district to tell them it is unfair, and this is what my husband has done to me. He has gone to court alone. I have not signed any paper, but he says the divorce is out. You know, now I'm getting tired. I'm just getting too worried. Am I gonna continue with this case, or am I gonna look for how to eat and drink and take care of the siblings who are depending on me day and night? It was such a big decision to make, whether to continue with the case or whether to concentrate with my life, because he has done all this so that he can have Victoria on board. Javetta has even left me with a lot of debt, everything. Shiru, mimi ni tule tumjinga, and I admit mimi nikamjinga kweli, because everything we have is in the name of my husband. Ni yule anasema it's safe in your hands. I don't mind, it's safe in your hands, I trust you. So this man, this minister, was not coming to talk to her so that we can reconcile. He was talking to her so that we can see how we can share the property. So we talked one time, and I sat down with Shiru and I say, that is to convince me to take the case out of the court, because he sat down with this lawyer and they look at all those accusations that you are saying you served Rachel when you are the date you are in the UK. That's contradiction. You have not allowed yourself the time that the court allows for separation. It isn't there. All the things that you have said about Rachel are lies. And they looked at that affidavit and they said they are not gonna win. So now it's a matter of convincing me to take the case out of court so that we settle it out of the court. And this is what this intervener, this arbitrator was for. Can you, Rachel, take out the case out of the court, and then we talk together and see. Shiru, nilipoangalia huyu mwanaume, hata nikifanya nini, he's not there. Mambo ya turundiane, he's not talking about, he's talking about now how we live on, how we move on with him having what he has gotten. Considering the fact that if I go on with the case, he will be in jail forever, my children will suffer. Considering that I don't have that amount of money that lawyer wants because that case is so heavy. Considering that it's so stressful to me when I don't have a job.
So is the case still in the court?
The case now was that in the court that time. But so now when this arbitrator came, and you know now, that's why I'm saying Japhet knew whatever he tells me I will do. When he wrote his own letter, he wrote a letter with his own words, and he said, please, Rachel, can we take out this case? Could you take this case out of court? There's no point of using money. There's no point of wasting our time going to court. There's no point of...
And you agreed?
I agreed. I agreed not only because he said it, but because of the repercussions that I knew would be as a result of this case going on. That's a kind of a soft person I am. That's why I'm saying he knew I wouldn't accept him back, but he didn't want it. So I accepted Shiru to take this case out of court in condition. And
this time round, you are still living in that small house.
I'm living in
and you didn't tell him, okay, if you want me to do this, can you do a certain favor in return? You didn't even think you can do that?
No, I didn't imagine I could do that, because I'm telling you, unless you know the kind of a husband I have is that man, that Japhet, who he will decides to do anything, you can't stop him. He has to have his way. He has to do that which he has purposed to do. So all that dirty things he has done is fighting for only one Victoria. And in his mind he say, I'm unstoppable and I wouldn't stop him. Because he started to soften after he has already divorce certificate in his pocket. That is now when we can talk. He allowed talks after he has a divorce certificate in his pocket. I was telling you about debts. The car, there's a small red car which we have back in our country. That car, one reason or the other, it was a loan that I took. I took it as an asset loan for our family. Because there is a time in Kenya I stayed without working, that car accumulated a lot of debts. And up to now, Shiru, it is in a tune of $1 million. And the car is just a wreck. Yani ni masekete ni ile gari you have to put in a lot for it to function. Even if that car is sold today, it can't raise that $1 million. That money has raised. And I was not able to pay because when I came here in this country, I wasn't working. And when I began to work, the work was taken within 3 years. 3 years I wasn't able to build anything. There's this 34,000 I'm talking about, 34,000 pounds. It is a deal. I won't go into the details of the deal, but it's a deal that we agreed, the two of us. But because I'm the one who brought the proposal, you see, as women, we look to what can make our family go well, look for how we can invest. It is an investment we entered into, the two of us, but because I brought the proposal and this thing backfired. When it backfired, he said, "Oh, it is you now. It is you. It is."
Was it on your name?
It is. I think we both of us signed, but it is me who was to be. I think it was attached to my account, but then the payment were coming from the contributions of both of us. He was paying some money and I was paying some money, but the money was attached to my account. So the bank knows my account. So this thing, when I brought the 34,000 pounds and the 1 million Kenya shillings on board, and brought what we have as the both of us, Japhet categorically, before this negotiator, he said, "Rachel, don't mention anything about the 34,000 pounds. This was your deal. This was your deal. Carry your deal to the end." This broke me. Hoping that I'm looking for how I can.
So what are you doing at the moment?
I'm doing care, and I'm working with the agency. Sometimes this agency cannot have shift, so sometimes I may sit in the house without shift. And I'm on universal credit, and they give me something little for my upkeep when I don't get the shift. So I'm there. I cannot say I'm stable. Yeah, but I'm surviving. Yeah, I'm surviving.
And you mentioned that your husband, your ex wedding is next month.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that? And also, have you spoken to your children? Do they know that your husband or their dad is getting married?
Yes. Again? Now, because sometimes Shiru, sometimes unaogopa kuambiwa, unawekelea mtu. These things I was not able to talk until recently. When this year January, when Japhet and Victoria traveled from here. I told you she came in December 2021. Yeah. She has stayed here. Now this year, they went to officialize it. It was a 3 days business. When I realized that, the way I knew all those details was a miracle. Because I was here in UK and they were in Kenya. But the way I knew the whole procedure, the way they are moving, it was a miracle. And God wanted me to know. That is now when I was open to my children and tell them now, your dad is getting married. My daughter, because she's a prayerful girl, she continued to pray in hope that things will work. So when I told her, because I told her now, your dad is getting married to this girl, she was so broken. She was so broken. I'm telling you, she was so broken. And when I say she was broken to a point of maybe getting into depression. But God is faithful. Yeah, so walimaliza udhoni, walipomaliza mambo ya udhoni, walirundi Nairobi, because we don't have a house where they could stay. Walikaa Nairobi, wakaa Nairobi until they return in January. Well, when they return now, he came to his church to tell them, this is the girl I'm getting married to. And he got a small house just next to the manse, just to blind people, to blind us that they are not together. He got a small house. She applied for a job in the nearing hospital. So she works in that hospital as a nurse as they are planning the wedding. Yeah.
Rachel, thanks so much for you kukubali hata kukuja on my show to sit down and encourage our fellow women out there, and also to enlighten even the men out there when you wamekuwa driven away with these young girls in the name of love, and maybe the girls they're just doing it because they need favor in return. So we really appreciate you and thanks so much, and we know that God will continue upholding you up to the very, very end. And give us your last word to our viewers here.
Just to say that That you asked if I would forgive. There's no time I've not been willing to forgive, but only somebody hasn't been willing to be forgiven. Mtu anapiga kifua anasema I can't bear solo, siwezi pembeleza mwanamke, and with that kind of mentality I think nothing can work. And I was also saying that I'm open to love again. Because in this country somebody can be very lonely, especially now. My son is 22, he has gone out. My daughter is 20, she's soon flying out of the nests. So you can imagine now me alone in the house, thinking and doing things. I need somebody, and God giving me and His grace in that I'll get married. And my choice is a minister, of course. Those of us, Shiru, who are highway drivers, you don't change lanes at the roundabout. I know how to care for a minister, so changing into, taking care of somebody who is not a minister can be a challenge, but it's all open. I'm open. I'm open for love, and I know I have love to give. Only somebody has taken advantage of my quietness and has taken
naiveness.
Say na kaujinga. Nina kaujinga. I need to admit kaujinga. He has taken advantage of wako kaujinga na ka salvation. Unajua kaujinga ka salvation hapo kaushago zote zikichanganyika has made me what I am, and has made me act the way I've acted. I'm not saying I'm not a contributor. I'm not very holy. I might have contributed in one way or the other, but it doesn't matter.
But it didn't have to end
yes,
that way.
It shouldn't have ended that way. One, why would you get married within a year of our separation? It means this is something you had already planned. Nimeona Shiru watu wakikaa separated for 10 years. Hata kuna wengine wanarundiana siku ya harusi ya watoto wao. Wanaenda kupanga udhoni, wanaonana, wanapanga. I wish my husband, now the father of my children, tunge separate, akae na mimi nikae, tukutane kwa dating site tena, tupendane,
Oh my God. It looks like you loved your husband so much, which I think you still love him.
I did.
And I believe that if he would come back, I know you'd forgive him.
Yes, I won't. And
was it your first love?
Is my very first love. Very first love.
So you don't know any love from any other
I don't know. And people
naona watu wanakuanga na first love, wanakuanga na ujinga mwingi.
Ujinga kama hiyo yangu kabisa, hiyo ni ujinga kabisa, because na yako kwa box ninaingia na let me tell you, Shiru, somebody who will have me in future, ukitaka niweke tu kwa box, bora nipende. Just that. Just love me.
Rachel,
yes.
I know maybe you'll never get a chance to sit down with Victoria and have a one-on-one or even have a chat, but I know somehow she's gonna watch this interview, What would you like her to know? What would you like to tell her?
Thank you, Shiru, for that very important thing. I just want Victoria to know that my quietness, not that I'm a fool. I've seen all the messages from you to my husband. Before he started locking up his phone, I used to see those nonsense he used to tell him. And my quietness does not mean I'm a fool or I'm a coward. I'm a Christian. I'm a really born again Christian. I was giving you time. And now because you are there and you're getting a white wedding, I'll say a white wedding on 17th. I just want to see what kind of family you're going to build on the tears of a servant of God. Because to be honest, I've cried. I don't think there's a woman in this life who has cried like me. I've cried, and I've cried alone with nobody to tell me sorry. Now that you've decided to build your family with my tears, just go ahead.
And she's coming to the house that I used to live.
Yeah, she will sit in the chairs that I'll sit. The spoons that are in that house belongs to me. You touch every wall. I pray through this, you may know.
Probably even the same bed.
Yeah, same bed, definitely. Same bed. Maybe in different sheets for a new bride. But I pray that those things will speak to you. And my prayer is that one day you will come to your senses and kneel down and tell the Lord to forgive. That's all.
Wow. What about the father of your children?
Japhet, I know he loves me. He can't deny it. Yeah, and as I said, right now you can't hear what I'm saying because you're drunk. And I'm talking about the biblical drunkenness that the Bible says, drunk new wine in an old wineskin. When you come out of that drunkenness, I just pray that somebody will be near to you and lead you to know God and confess, because what you have done is not only against me but also against God. You have talked a lot of things just trying to cover what you're doing, but I pray that you may realize your sins and repent to God. If that happens when I'm alive, well, I'll be there. And I also just want to remind you, when you came to look for me, I first of all told you that I've not known love, not from a man, not even from my parents who had conflict all the time, and you accepted that you would love me forever. I also need to remind you down the line that what you are is part of me. Remember, you broke twice to go to school full time. I've done all my studies while my babies are growing. Shiru, I've not broken to go to school. But my husband went to UK for 1 year to study. I stayed with the babies. He broke again 2 years to go and study in Chem for 2 years. I still remember when I was giving you 10 bob to go to Chem and 10 bob to come back. Just want to remind you also that when my parents died, I called you and told you, now I'm in your hands, baby. And I told you, you are my mother, you're my father. I don't have anybody but you. You said, leave that with me. I also want to remind you that when my mother was dying in hospital, he sent everybody else away and he told you, come here, my son, pray for me. You don't know what that means. I just want to wish you all the best and assure you that I'm not going to interfere with your marriage with Victoria whatsoever, and I'm not going to stop your wedding. Just take your choice. God bless you. Bye.
Wow. Wow. Thanks so much, our viewers. There's nothing much more I'm going to say. As you heard, it's a very painful story. And Victoria and what do you call him?
Japhet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so Victoria and Japhet, we also wish you very, very best in your life.
That's my number.
Yeah, that's Rachel's WhatsApp number. And remember to put +1 +2 54. Actually, we are going to pin it down there so you can find it. And thanks so much for listening to us. Until next time, may God bless you. My name is Shiru Stuart, and I really, really thank you and appreciate you for always tuning in to Hubura Show. Thanks so much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Shiru.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Bye.
Bye.